The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
High above the virtual Phoenix International Raceway, we say good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to those of you watching on YouTube and twitch.tv/LSRTV. This is round number 2 of the Nascar iRacing Pro Series right here from Phoenix International Raceway on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Hello everybody, my name is Cisco Scaramouza alongside Nolan Scott to bring you all the action, hopefully joined by some others later on, but right now this is the booth and we're sticking to it and looking to bring you the pictures and all the action here from Phoenix, and cars already on the grid, Nolan, but setting up to the second race of the season for these guys.
Absolutely glad to be here yet again. Justin Bolton, strong qualifying position. He's going to be starting from pole tonight. A lot of other big names in the grid. But Justin Bolton once again showing that pace of this Pro Series car this season. He's going to start the field off and the pace cars off pit lane as we speak.
Absolutely, and we'll take a look at your qualifying order as of right now. Justin Bolton, Jesse Schwartz, and then Garrett Lowe round out your top 3. Keegan Leahy, Kevin King, Jacob Harberts, Colton Davis, Jeremy Davis, Chad Lawton, Ryan Kuhn round out your top 10. Then you got James Curl, Nathan Lyon, Michael J. Johnson, Casey Kerwin, Robbie Vrabel, Ryan Doucette, Michael Guest, Trey Eidson, Benjamin Nelson, Nicholas Morse, Adam Benefield round out your top 21. The rest of them you'll take a look at on screen here as they roll by. That's the rest of your field here as we head through turns 3 and 4. Only one pace lap here, which means these guys head right to the action as we come around turn number 4. Field in the hands of Justin Bolton. His green flag is in the air. We are racing from Phoenix.
Justin Bolton with a good start, nice and clean in 1 and 2. Jesse Schwartz going to fall into 3rd position here behind Mr. Garrett Lowe. They fan out quite a bit, but they're going to stay clean as we work our way into 3 and 4.
Yeah, down into turn number 3 and 4 we go so far, and Lowe off to an early lead to try and get in front of those guys, has pulled in front of Jesse Schwartz, but now Schwartz going to look to the inside heading into turn number 1. No move there for the driver of the number 14. Lowe going to hold on to that 2nd position as they come out across the dogleg. Open dogleg here tonight, Noel. That means you can go as far down there as you want.
Yeah, and I would be cutting it quite a bit. I think we're going to see some guys really take advantage of it. Maybe not quite as much as we saw in real life at Phoenix this weekend, but definitely going to take advantage of that. Keegan Leahy now in 4th position, really kind of showing his nose on Jesse, but Jesse really getting aggressive into 1, takes the nose on Garrett Lowe into 1 and 2, but I think Keegan's going to get a big run on the outside as they work their way down to the dogleg, and he's probably going to have a good opportunity to take this position going into 3.
Yeah, into 3 they go once again, and up on the top side is going to be Keegan Leahy trying to make that outside line work. We saw it yesterday in the RSR race. Guys trying to make it work. You can get the run off the corner, and that's exactly what the 18 is going to be able to do. Lights have fallen, or lights on here at Phoenix. It allows that top line, has a little bit more grip, able to make that pass as they head through the dogleg once again, and behind him, Jacob Harberts looking to the inside of Schwartz, who's starting to fall back a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. I think Schwartz obviously out of position with Keegan there. Keegan really trying to work this top side really heavy. A little bit early, in my opinion, to work the top side, especially in nighttime conditions, but he's making it work. I think as the night goes on, the top side is going to be the preferred line, especially in racing conditions, and Keegan's trying to work it in and see what's capable of it right now. But Jacob definitely pulling in on Jesse, and you know, for the most part, Keegan now actually making a move for 2nd position going into 3 on Garrett Lowe, and he's going to easily get that position from Garrett Lowe. Pretty much gave it up. Now he's under a little bit of pressure from Jesse, but I think he's going to slot into 3rd position off of 4.
Yeah, he'll slide into that position there, Nolan, and back into turn number 1 they go again, and Opening up a little bit of a gap is Justin Bolton. It's about 4/10 back to Keegan Leahy, who's gotten past that car of Garrett Lowe now. So Leahy looking to open up that gap. Meanwhile, side by side behind him, it's Harberts in the 29 and Colton Davis going at it. Those two going side by side as they head out of turn number 4. Survey says it. Colton Davis not going to be able to make it happen. He's going to drop back in behind of Harberts here, single file. But Bolton losing that lead right now. Keegan Leahy eating up that gap.
And Keegan asserted his dominance in round 1 with his outright pace. I think he's doing it again. He's really pulled that gap, and he's pulled it in quickly. And he's been working that top side, like I said before, which is a bit of a surprise to me. He's kind of pulled it back down a little bit, maybe not going quite as aggressive up top. But yeah, definitely seems to be basically the cream of the crop, so to speak, right now. He shows a nose going into 1, but I think Bolton's going to hold that position off. Keegan gets a little loose off of 2, maybe a bit aggressive. Might want to save some tires here, but Keegan's definitely trying to get up there and show that pace early on.
Yeah, he is, and into 3 they go, and Colton trying to make it happen again with Harberts as they come through 3 and 4 this time. Car looks like it's going to step out a little bit. Nope, they'll keep it even as they come off the corner, and it's Colton down to the bottom as now it looks like Jesse Schwartz going to try and get around the number 1 of Garrett Lowe. Easy pass for Davis, though. Harberts gets out of the way. That's going to be an easy pass as the battle for the lead continues. Leahy has a nose as they head into 3.
Yeah, big nose, and I think he's going to even clear Bolton before we get to the center of the corner. He easily does so. Bolton, we saw last week, he ran a very smart race. He's going to do the same thing this week. He's an in-pass veteran. He's not going to be too aggressive this early into the race. He gave that position up, in my opinion, but right now he's under a little bit of pressure from Garrett Lowe, so he needs to keep up his pace. He obviously wants to maintain that track position as best he can. They are really scrapping out for 3rd position. The 14 car going on the inside of the 1, going into 3 and 4. He's been showing that nose time and time again. It looks like this time he's finally going to make it. Oh, caution flag flies. He's not going to be able to make that position stick.
Yeah, caution flag in the air and possible issues. I'm not sure who went around. Maybe possibly the 34 of Garguglia. We'll have to see here. Wind back the camera, see what we can get in terms of replay. Yeah, it was the 34 sideways coming out of turn number 1, it looks like. We'll get a second look at it on the LSRTV replay. It's the 34 along with the 30 of...
That's Brett Mahar.
Yeah, Brett Mahar. Down into turn number 1 they go, side by side. And yeah, just 30 just drifts up off the corner, tags the 34, and next thing you know, Michael nowhere to go and just slides off the corner for your first caution.
Yeah, a bit unfortunate. I mean, really, the 34 was probably a little bit lower than the 30 car thought, but that just what seemed to be to me quite an avoidable accident. The 30 probably had eyes on the 34, but just probably got a little bit tight. It's very common to get tight here, especially in nighttime conditions. So I think we're going to see that progress as the night goes on, especially in 1 and 2, 3 and 4. The car tends to stay a little freer. We saw Keegan obviously has shown that he tends to have a little bit of a looser base under him. He got loose off of 2, and I'm a bit surprised to see that early on. He'll probably make an adjustment here, tighten the car up, but that will happen, and the track will tighten up as the night goes on.
Yeah, for sure. Cars down pit road already. Probably going to see 4 tires for most of them. 2 cars stayed out. Nicholas Shelton and Jarl Tien both stayed out. Keegan with 2-tire call as well as Jeremy Davis. Guess looks like maybe just gas and go for the driver of the 21. Everybody else, Nelson, Morse, and Wilson all took 2 tires. Going through the rest of your field as well as Blade Witt and possibly T-Loff as well, all took 2 tires. Everybody else in the field looks like they took 4. So Ford, the more dominant call, but these guys taking 2 tires to stay up front early and get to the front of your field here, Nolan.
Yeah, Shelton in 5th position there, staying out. Not really sure he needed that much track position. He started 23rd, so obviously he's trying to work his way up. Jarl, on the other hand, started this race in 36th position, so I think this was a good call from him to stay out. He's going to get a lot of track position here. We got basically 11 green flag laps under our belt. Tires should be decent. I definitely like the 4-tire call, though, all the way.
Oh, for sure, and I agree with you as well. I think 4 tires this early on here, you're not going to regret it later on if this thing goes green, which we saw yesterday in the RSR race. We had 1 caution early on, and after that it was green the rest of this thing, and the 4 tires really paid dividends for those drivers then. But the lights are out here on the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car. Shelton, Tien, Leahy, Davis, Guest, Bolton, Lowe, Schwartz, and Morse as they swap up a little bit on the top 10, but the pace car gets set to make the left-hand turn back down pit road, and we get set to wave the American Ethanol green flag for our first restart on the night. Field in the hands of Nicholas Shelton. He's gone. Green flag in the air. We're back racing from Phoenix.
Yeah, Shelton with a great start. Jarl's going to have a decent start here as well, but I think he's going to give that that inside groove up. He knows he's got weaker tires here. He's probably not going to be too aggressive, but he's got the track position. That's really all he wants. He's just hoping for a quick caution here, maybe 5-6 laps in, and then they really fan out on the backstretch, but nice and clean thus far through 3 and 4.
Yeah, nice and clean so far. Up on the top side, you see it's starting to stack up a little bit. The 26, Jeremy Davis up there, is now the 9 of Bolton, who is starting to get held up a little bit. Bolton decides to drop to the inside here, and they'll be 2x2x2 through 1 and 2, and another caution coming out this time. It's Blade Witt. It looks like problems, big problems in the rear of your field. Also seeing David Washington as well, some others involved. We take a look at the replay this time, Nolan. Not sure what happened, but early enough into the run here, it looks like maybe issues with Michael Johnson, not sure. Yep, it was the 4 got into him and just punted him in the rear. Next thing you know, that'll collect a couple cars. The 4 was Ryan Kuhn there, and everybody behind him just nowhere to go as they slam right back up into the track. The cars on the top side, nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's hard to tell if Michael J. Johnson was just being conservative there and trying to fall into line and the 4 just misjudged it, or if the 4 just went in there and missed his braking mark. But definitely, yeah, the 4 pretty much turned Michael, unfortunately, and everybody else was just along for the ride after that, trying to avoid that spinning car coming up the track. 15 car involved, 31 car involved. Not major damage. I think Michael J. Johnson probably got the worst of it out of anybody, and that does look like somewhat repairable damage. He's probably going to be down on straight line speed, but all in all, not necessarily what probably Jarl and Nicholas Shelton wanted to see up at the front. We didn't get enough green flag laps there, I don't think, to see a mass pit, but then again, I could be wrong. We'll just have to see what happens.
No, everybody's staying out. You're right, Nolan. Not a lot of guys decide to come down pit road. I'm seeing pit road for a couple drivers. Obviously, those who are going to have to get damage repairs, so Eidson and Kuhn. And then later on down your field, I see Sturgis and as well as Johnson, the 31, Blade Witt. So a lot of guys getting damage repaired, and maybe T-Loff, I think, is down there as well. Maybe just taking some fresh tires.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think that is the situation also with PJ Sturgis, T-Loff. Yeah, we got a couple cars, the 20 car, Thomas, Axum. A lot of guys here at the back end of the field. I say a lot of guys. A few guys here at the back end of the field going to pit, take 4 fresh tires. I think that's the right call. These cars look really clean, though. But, yeah, definitely, if you're in the back end of the field, why not pit, get those 4 fresh tires, even if you only have 2 laps on your tires. 2 laps, that's 2/10 a lap. So maybe not so much at Phoenix. Definitely a place like Texas, you're going to see a big difference. But anywhere you go, if you can pit, take those tires and not lose any track position, you're going to want to do it.
Oh, for sure. And light's still on the pace car here, so these guys going to continue to pace. But I like the call by T-Loff, and I like the call by Eidson as well to come down, take those tires, Nolan. We're early enough in this race where there's still plenty of racing left to go, and if it puts you on a different strategy and this thing does go green, Phoenix is notorious for being a very lap traffic heavy track. If you can get out of that mess and maybe run out in your clean air a little bit, that always helps as well. It will put T-Loff back in the field with those guys, but I just like having fresh tires just as a driver.
I do too, and I think it does offset you just a little bit better in terms of strategy, in terms of optimization. I mean, you're going to drop yourself down basically from what's going to be a 48 stint race to a 46 stint race, and you're going to see, now you see other guys like in the 35 car, lots of damage, didn't pit, don't really get it, but here we're about to go green. I'll let you take the call.
Yeah, Shelton's going to lead the field once again. Not a whole lot changes in your top 5. Shelton, Leahy, Dean, Bolton, and Davis as Shelton on the loud pedal. Green flag back in the air for our second restart here from Phoenix. And once again, a great restart by Shelton in the 2. Ready out to an early lead as they head through turns 1 and 2.
And Justin Bolton trying to make that top side work on Jarl. Jarl still out there with those old tires. He's going to be praying for a caution within these next 5 or 6 laps, but he's actually really holding on to this position quite well. He challenged Keegan earlier on this last run, and now he's actually giving Bolton a run for his money. I think he's going to slot in behind that Bolton's car. Well, he's not actually going to have the opportunity. He's going to keep steamrolled on the outside, so he's definitely going to want to fight his way to the outside here to block this off soon.
Yeah, he's really just getting passed out there on the bottom and starting to check up a couple cars behind him. Davis, as well as the 14 of Schwartz, as well as the 29 of Davis, all kind of getting caught up behind him here. That outside line seems to have a little bit better traction here, and I think that's just down to the fact that the 17 kind of checking everybody up. You see that accordion effect starting to happen. Also saw Kerwin in that mess, and now they're going to go 3 wide as the 16 spooks the 14. Is that move? And now it looks like they're going to check up behind. Survey says they made it, but I think that was completely just Jacob Harbert spooking the 14 of Jesse Schwartz.
Yeah, plenty of room there. Jesse Schwartz pulled up big time, got into the 26 on the outside, had a huge slide in the middle of 1 and 2, saved it. Everybody got around him somehow, and they're still green. Amazing. Great save from the 14, and the 14 already going back, getting aggressive, trying to make it 3 wide again in 1 and 2 underneath the 36 and the 38.
Yeah, and we just seen the replay right now of what happened. I think Jesse Schwartz had no idea that Harberts was thinking that way, and got into the right side of the Caterpillar car there, and was able to hold on to it so it didn't go too out of whack. But I can't say that Schwartz is going to be terribly happy that all of a sudden his spotter went, hey, car inside all of a sudden.
Yeah, a bit of a late move, I will agree. You know, once again, the 26 car, Jeremy B. Davis really got a little bit of left front damage from that. He had a little bit before. I don't know if that was actually caused directly from that incident. But yeah, there was plenty of room there, I thought. I just think, like you said, he got spooked, freaked out a little bit, pulled up, and the 26 car was there. And the 26 car, unfortunately, you know, took a little bit of damage there, but for the most part, didn't lose much time from the incident overall.
No, he didn't. So now we're going to take stock of what our top 5 looks like. Shelton, Leahy, Bolton, Guest, and Lowe. And we're kind of seeing the back half of this because that's Guest and Lowe. They're kind of leading this pack, but they're battling for the lead a little bit here. I saw Leahy swerving all around trying to get past Nicholas Shelton, and the driver who was so dominant 1 week ago at Texas, once again looking for that lead, trying to take it away from Shelton.
Both of these guys last week, in my opinion, were just in a league of their own, and we kind of talked about it during the race about these two guys really showing that dominance at Texas. You know, obviously Bolton was very strong. Bolton is once again strong this week, but Keegan and Nicholas last week were in a league of their own, and this week they're going at it again. I think we're going to see some feathers get rustled eventually because we know how aggressive these two guys are. They're some of the fastest in the service, but when it comes go time, they have no problem putting the hammer down and showing a nose on you, to say the least. So it'd be interesting to watch these two guys duke it out over the season, and right now it's setting up for already a pretty interesting race here at Phoenix.
Yeah, it is. And if you're wondering where last week's winner, Casey Kerwin, is, well, he's kind of towards the rear end of this sort of mess. He's sitting right now in a 9th place position, so he's in the top 10 and not really worrying, and that really doesn't surprise me. I think as the run goes on, he's going to look to move up through the field a little bit later on. Meanwhile, battle for the lead right now. Leahy looked to the inside. I saw it up ahead. Wasn't able to get the move. The outside was too strong for Shelton. Shelton holds on to it, and that means Bolton's going to close a little bit as well, with those two going side by side.
That's true. Neither one of them really showing too much, though. You know, they work in the outside groove. He's able to make it work. It's just hard to make a pass work here once that outside groove comes in, and it came in a little bit quicker than I anticipated. In regards to Casey, I love that 9th place position right now. I mean, that's all you need. That's all you need. Running in the top 10 right here, in my opinion, is the place you want to be. Anywhere behind that, you're in the danger zone. So anywhere in the top 10, I think you're safe. It's anybody's ball game if you're in the top 10.
Oh, for sure. And single file here through the most part through 3 and 4. We see Leahy looking at the bottom, just isn't close enough yet. We'll see if he dives it into 1. Meanwhile, battle behind these guys, and it's Colton Davis, it looks like, looking to the inside of Jacob Harberts. Look back at the lead. Nope, they didn't go side by side quite there, so we'll stay with this battle. And now it's going to look almost 3 wide as the 17 going to have to check out the throttle. Jarl T and nowhere to go, and now Kerwin goes underneath the logos as much as he heads through the dogleg.
That's right. I mean, I think those tires now on Jarl, he's really starting to see, you know, just how much of a disadvantage he put himself in. I still like the call. He's got great track position. He's running in, I guess, what was it, 9th position now, so he's in the top 10. It's where he needs to be. But, yeah, he's dropping like a stone now. He desperately needs another caution here to get in and get 4 fresh tires on that car.
Yeah, and the battle in front of him is Lowe, the 29 of Colton Davis, and Guest as well. These 3 were all stuck together there when they went through the dogleg. Also, quick check on your leaders. Yeah, the 18's right there on the 2. We'll see if he tries anything into 1. Looks, no, nothing going to happen. They'll stay single file right now. So behind these guys, this battle continues. Low, the 29 of Davis looking, just nothing there. So everybody very close, but single file right now is actually the battle is going on with Kevin King as well as the 25 of Chad Lawton, who's jumped to the inside, and goodbye Jarl Tien. And yeah, those tires not working as now Kerwin goes to the inside of Harberts.
Kerwin's definitely been a mover on this run. He's made up a lot of positions, and he really caught this pack in front of him really quickly. So, you know, once again...
Leahy. Yeah, I don't know. We're sorry to cut you off there, Nolan, but Leahy got to the outside and made the pass and got the pass done on Shelton while we were looking at that battle for third. So Keegan Leahy to the front of your field here, and Justin Bolton goes by the 2 as well. So quick change for your lead. We'll take a second look at that on the LSRTV replay, but Keegan found the outside, and that's all he needed.
That's right, and Bolton's right there. Bolton has actually, in my opinion, been a little bit stronger than Shelton overall thus far in the first 2 runs. But keep in mind, Shelton is on those older tires. He's on the same tire situation Jarl is. So for him to be up there in the situation he's in is really impressive. And I think once again, it just goes to show once we get a caution and he gets 4 fresh slicks on that car, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with late in this race.
Oh, for sure. And those 3 kind of spread out right now. Shelton's starting to fall off the back, and we look back at Kerwin hounding the 16 of Harbert's. Not a whole lot of space between those cars, about a foot or 2 between them, and we ride on board with Kerwin as we head into turn number 3 yet again. And looks to the outside this time. There's been a lot of success up there, but Kerwin not quite close enough, but he goes right to the bumper of Jacob Harberts, and Harbert's on the defensive right now.
So hard to pass here, so difficult to pass because, you know, you just saw Jacob Harberts just pulled a perfect move there. A little subtle, it doesn't seem like much, but just pulls up to the outside and blocks it off, and Casey takes a big shortcut here. He's going to have a big move going into 3 and 4, and I think this time he's going to be able to get this move done.
Yeah, Casey the inside, and Harberts, I think, just let him have it there, and it's going to fall into the clutches of Kevin King as well as Chad Lawton, who are both right there licking their chops to try and get in front of these guys. They head back to turn number 1 yet again. Casey trying to open up that gap, and King right now looking any way past that he can find at 26, and the lead has opened up a little bit. You see it in front of us, not too far downfield. Keegan Leahy's opened up about 3 to 4 tenths on Bolton as they come out of turn number 4 right now, and Shelton, he's there. He's just not really doing anything. He's just kind of chilling there. That accordion effect, though, starting to happen behind Guest because he got low. The 29 to Davis and the 3 all starting to compact right behind the 21.
Yeah, 3 had a bit of a moment there, and Davis actually caught the 1. Davis kind of showing his nose on low quite a bit here. Nothing really that's... once again, I just, you know, you see low, he pulls up. He's going to block that high side on the 29. The 29 is going to diamond down off the corner, but there's really nothing you can do other than get a big run here. Maybe show a nose down into 1. It looks like Davis might have an opportunity, but he chooses just to stay where he's at, bide his time. Long race. We're 38 laps into a 156-lap race.
Yeah, we still got plenty of time to go here. Is Davis now going to look to the inside of Garrett Lowe as they head through the dog leg? We'll see if he sets it up for turn 3 in time. He'll stay to the inside of Lowe as they head through 3 and 4. Kerwin's also there looking to see if he can stick a nose in. Not close enough, though, as they come out of turn number 4. Drag race to the line in favor of Lowe, but the 29's going to be there as they send it into 1. And hello, Colton Davis sends it into 1. Over the slide job, Lowe going to try and get the cut back on the bottom. It's going to go in his favor, so these 2 swap positions as they head towards 3.
Yeah, he went for the crossover. Bit surprised. I thought he was going to give up the position to Davis there, and he goes for the crossover. I think mainly to maintain that position on Casey, who's right there. Oh, God, he's a little bit loose coming off the corner, but he saves it. And now Casey's going to show a nose going down into 1.
Yeah, Casey looking to the inside of Lowe here, and they'll go side by side. These 2 know each other very well, competitors in the summer shootout for so many years. These 2 kind of along the same sort of lines, and these 2 know each other very well, and they're in the numbers 1 and the numbers 3, which means they have the first and third highest ranking iRating in this session right now. The only person who's not a part of this is a little bit ahead of these guys in Nicholas Shelton as they head back to turn number 1.
A quick update there. Michael Guest actually now just getting passed by Colton Davis. Now Garrett Lowe's right on the rear bumper of that 21 car. He's one of the few cars up in this front pack that's not cutting the dog leg at all. He's really, and I think that's a good call. You stay up there, you save your tires. I think it's a good call. I think he's going to maintain this position. But Casey, once again, I said he was a quick mover. He's moved up the field really quick. I think maybe he can get around Guest, but Colton Davis overall has really kind of proven to be the fastest car in this group in the short term. But it really boils down to how well you you save those tires. Michael Guest seems to be running a little bit more conservative line as he gets passed by Casey, as I say that, which is not too unexpected. Going to make a move down into 3 and 4, and I think Casey's going to be able to pull this position off now.
Yeah, Casey's just kind of hanging out right now, just making everything go his way. He's found some really good spots. He's been able to put that forward and jump to the inside, make these passes happen. You see the 21, I guess, trying to retaliate. Won't be able to do anything. He doesn't have an answer for the 3 as the 3 begins to pull away. All Guest can do is worry about the 1 who's right behind him, Garrett Lowe, and the 16 of Harberts who's there. Also battle behind those guys. That's Kevin King, as well as Chad Lawton in the 25, who's going to try and get a 2-for-1 discount as they head through 3 and 4. He'll only get King, though, at least have a nose in front as they come out of 4.
Yeah, that 2-for-1 discount might actually turn into a lost position from Kevin King, but he sends it down into 1. Really going to have the overlap opportunity here if he wants to go for it. I think he's going to get it from Kevin King. He does. Big. Once again, look at the cut from the 25 as opposed to Michael Guest and Kevin King in the 12 car. They're really much more conservative lines, much better on tires overall over a long run. So that could pay off if we go green here. And this has been a pretty decent sized run, so these tires should start to fall off pretty substantially in the next 5 to 10 laps.
Yeah, and it's kind of a battle pack here. Nobody can get away from each other. The person who's been able to do it is Kerwin, and you've seen that gap open up as a result. So these guys all kind of stuck together. Nobody can get past the other, and still side by side, 2 by 2 by 1 now. So they head back into 3 and 4 once again. You can see Lawton trying to make the inside work. I think he's got the better car of that group as of right now, and just trying to find his way past. He gains a lot of time on Lowe, but just can't do anything with it.
Yeah, I agree. I think Lowe's kind of stuck on the bottom here. He kind of got pinned down, and he can't really make anything happen, and now Chad's kind of stuck behind him. A bit unfortunate for Chad because Chad and Kevin King really reeled this group in quickly over the last 5 to 8 laps. So I definitely agree with you 100%. I think Chad's kind of the cream of the crop of these 5 cars right now, but there's just nothing you can do. It's so hard to pass here because you can always just run up, block the top side, and right now, Lowe's pinned on the bottom, so there's nothing you can really do unless he wants to make it 3 wide, and it looks like he's going to take that opportunity here, make a big cut down into 3 and 4. They're going to be 3, maybe even 4 wide. Oh no, they slot in 3 wide into 3. Chad's going to hold the inside. I think he's going to get that 2-for-1 special you were talking about just a moment ago, and yes, he's going to pull it off easily off of 4.
Yeah, the supermarket sweep, as it were, goes to Chad Lawton. He's up to P number 6 right now. A fantastic run for that driver. Started 9th, up 3, but it's been a hard-fought 3 positions for Chad Lawton. Meanwhile, Kevin King, who's been doing the same thing, started 5th and is running 9th right now. He fell back early on and is trying to get some of those positions back as they still go 3 wide. King to the bottom of Harbert's in the 21 as well, and he'll make the pass. Just barely happen. Nope, they'll go 2 wide, at least for the moment. Harberts fights back on the top side as they head back into 1.
And Michael Guest finally falling back there, but yeah, Kevin King's still on the bottom of that number 16 of Jacob Harberts. Kevin's going to have a big cut here. I think he's going to be able to send it down here if he wants to, but that 16 of Jacob Harberts, we didn't talk much about him last race either, but we actually mentioned it at the end of the race. Really strong run from Jacob Harberts last week, and he's going to make that top side work and actually get around Kevin King. So, don't listen to anything I have to say because Kevin King keeps showing the nose on the bottom, but I just don't think the bottom's strong enough right now to really make a pass. Anybody we see gets pinned down there, they either make the pass or they get pinned and they lose a position. So I just think it's a good call from Kevin to fall in position here behind the 16. And the 16, in my opinion, looks just a tick better than Lowe overall. So I think if they work together here, maybe they can get around Lowe or just increase their overall pace, fall in line here and just maintain some track position. I think that's more important.
Yeah, and you speak of pace because Keegan Leahy is off in another zip code right now, about a second back to Justin Bolton, and then another 7/10 or so back to Nicholas Shelton, and then it's 2.6 back to Colton Davis and Casey Kerwin. We're kind of stuck together there, and then Lawton's kind of the last car bridging that gap. He's been able to break away, but we talked about that battle pack, and no one's been able to escape it. Well, Lawton was able to, and he still got so much time because all of those guys were stuck battling. They were losing time to the leaders who were single file and just pulling away.
That's right, and we saw Colton Davis and Casey earlier in the run kind of make a move. They got up into 4th and 5th position, and they kind of separated themselves from the pack. But when you look at the lap times, Chad J. Lawton is really about, on average, just under a 1/10 of a lap faster than Casey and Colton right now. So Casey and Colton used up a little bit more equipment early in the run to get that track position and to get that gap. But, you know, right now, I still think, like you said, I think you're 100% right. Chad is one of the guys to watch right now. Casey and Colton still really strong pace in 4th and 5th. Pretty clear 4th and 5th position right now. We need to go back and look at this battle between Garrett Lowe and, Kevin King and Jesse Swartz, because Swartz took a big accident early on, didn't take much damage from it, had a big save, and he's already back up into the 10th position after losing over 15 positions in that spin in 1 and 2.
Yeah, great job by Schwartz to bring it up, and we're starting to get to the point here where I want to go searching, because there's a certain Monster Energy car that I'm looking for, and it's that driver of Teloff, because remember, he came down and took tires. And we've started to get this longer green flag run, Nolan. I'm starting to wonder when that comes calling for Teloff and those guys who did come down with him. I believe Axum as well as Eidson did it as well. Looking to see when those 2 tires, or that 4-tire or fresher 4 tires call comes into play for the driver of the 8.
Yeah, he's back there mired in 25th position currently, which, you know, I honestly thought we would see those tires kind of shine a little bit more. But when you look at his lap times, he is, on average, about a 1/10 of a lap quicker than those guys in front. The problem is that he's a solid second back from the next car, so he's got to make up some time. And really, you know, we've been on this run for quite some time now. If the tires are going to shine, they needed to be shining about 10 laps ago. So hopefully he can really put down some steamers, because otherwise, yeah, I still like the 4-tire call. He's obviously going to make positions up, but right now he looks like about a top 20 car.
Yeah, just not the speed that he's looking for right now. We look back to our group of 4, and Garrett Lowe once again hogging the battle camera, because he's been mired in it all day, but the real battle is behind him between King and Harberts, and this just will not go away. King was able to hold off Schwartz there, and is now looking once again to try and get past Harberts, and Harberts' stout defense today from the driver of the 16, and you got to think King's got to be a little bit frustrated, because he came through this pack with Lawton, his teammate, and Lawton's been able to drive away while King's been kind of just mired back, stuck here.
Yeah, 100% correct. And Chad, in my opinion, actually had a little bit harder time getting through the traffic in terms of his position. He was pinned on the bottom behind Lowe for a few laps. King has had a little bit more leeway, but once again, you know, King, you know, he's in the top 10. We got plenty of racing to go. Well, I say we got plenty of racing to go. We're getting down. We're under 100 laps left, so you know, I think it's time to start making some moves. But once again, I like King's position. He's a veteran. Obviously, he's been an impasse for a number of years. Just missed getting a pro license last season by just a few points. I definitely think he's a guy to watch over this season.
Yeah, for sure. And his teammate Chad just got in front of Casey Kerwin there. We saw it kind of up the road a little bit from the onboards. Casey Kerwin loses that 5th place position to Chad Lawton, and they're both catching Colton Davis, who's kind of not been able to make up the time he wants to on the leaders. And oh, by the way, the bleeding continues for Nick Shelton as well, who's kind of 9/10 back. He's there. He just isn't really going a whole lot of places. And as for Keegan Leahy, yeah, I said next zip code. How about next state?
Just in a class of his own right now on those 4 fresh tires. I really would love to see what Shelton can bring to the table when we get another caution, or when we have these green flag pit stops, and look at the lap times, because even right now, you know, he's not terribly far off with those older tires, but I definitely think Bolton's going to be in a situation here where once Shelton gets those 4 fresh tires, if we do go green, that, you know, he's going to have a lot on his plate in terms of maintaining this 2nd position if the race goes green. But once again, yeah, Keegan is just in a class of his own. He's actually catching some lap cars right now, getting ready to pass Michael J. Johnson, who has that damage. Apparently that damage was pretty detrimental. It looks like he's down on straight line speeds. That's a bit unfortunate for that 28 car.
Yeah, not the run he was looking for, the driver formerly the NASCAR Peak Antifree Series, trying to make his way back in, and not the run that he needs. He does have a drop that he can use, but it's going to be a long day for the driver of that machine. But everybody single file right now. Your battle, well, let's look back to the drivers of Adam Benefield, Jeremy Davis, and Steve Wilson, the fan favorite as it were. And just as I say that, car into contact. No yellow's going to come out quite yet. Nope, there it is. As the 22 gets hung on the wall, yellow flag is out. Robbie Vrabel, Adam Benefield. And, wow, that was coincidental, but nonetheless, we looked at them, and they were just beginning to battle, because I looked at the interval. They were about a 1/10 away from each other, and I was wondering what was going on with this battle. Well, it all went wrong is what happened.
Yeah, Robbie unfortunately got just a little bit loose. Got a little bit of help from behind, and Adam was just an unfortunate innocent bystander there. That seems to be kind of Adam's luck, and I think that engine is blown. We'll have to see. Yeah, he's definitely going to have some engine problems. So it looks like night over for Adam.
And wrong place, wrong time for the Roll Speed Dynamics Ford. And Benefield, I know, has been looking for a long time to break into that top level, and this is not going to help him tonight. We've seen him so much in RSR. We saw him in Nascars for that brief time, and just Benefield's just a very good driver. Just hasn't had the luck he's wanted, and doesn't seem like it's continuing in his favor tonight. So for Adam Benefield, it will be a case of let's just look towards next week to try and get those points back. The pit stops is the order up on the menu, and everybody's having a piece.
Yeah, everybody's going to come down here and take 4. I don't think we'll see anybody do anything outside of take 4. And yeah, just real quick back to Adam. You know, I agree completely. He's one of those guys who just shows time and time again that he has the pace to make it, and just unfortunately always seems to end up in incidents or in crashes in these races that most of the time are of no fault of his own. So I really feel for Adam in that situation.
No, I absolutely agree. Cars coming off pit road right now. Leahy, Johnson. Actually, no, Johnson going to fall back here, and I need to double check. Did Michael even pit? No, he didn't. So that's going to be, he's going to be falling down the order a little bit, the 28. So it's going to get a little confusing here, but Leahy, Bolton, Shelton, Davis, and Kerwin, your top 5, and you can see Johnson coming back down, and just the amount of damage on that Camry is massive, and he's going to have to take a lot of pit stops here, Nolan, in order to get that thing fixed, because it is beat up aplenty here at Phoenix.
Yeah, it's that car is what I call El Tostado at this point. I would have probably taken in the longest line penalty there and repaired, but I think he's in a situation now where that car is so damaged that it's going to be difficult to get that thing up to a raceable pace, unfortunately for Michael, which is a shame. You know, once again, no fault of his own, kind of got turned, unfortunately, and it just is what it is. Same thing happened to Michael last week, if I'm not mistaken, was involved in another incident that was, once again, no fault of his own, but it's just the nature of the beast. I mean, that's what this series is for. It's more than just race pace. It's about being able to stay clean, put yourself in the right situations, and sometimes you don't have that control, and unfortunately Michael's a prime example of that, and so is Adam. Adam is a prime example of that tonight as well.
Yeah, so guys who are in not very good positions coming out of tonight right now, David Washington is your first car completely out of the race, 34 laps down is the driver in the number 15 who was involved in that early accident we saw. Adam Benefield, of course, had the blown motor there, so he's going to be falling down laps, as well as Robbie Vrabel. Those two involved in your latest caution. Eidson and Johnson both trying to get some damage repaired. It looks like Eidson, the right side of that Chevrolet, looks torn up a little bit, so he's going to be trying to get that repaired. And of course, we reported on Johnson as well. Blade Witt looks to still have that damage from the incident with Washington, as does Connor Blaze. So those guys just looking to try and get some damage repaired and maybe get some cautions to get the race there go their way. But the top 10 goes as follows: Keegan Leahy, Justin Bolton, Nick Shelton, Colton Davis, Casey Kerwin, Garrett Lowe, Kevin King, Chad Lawton, Jesse Schwartz, and Jacob Harberts round out your top 10. And Jarl, by the way, got the caution he wanted, fresh tires for the 17. He's going to start 11th here as the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car hits pit road once again, and the field is in the hands of new leader. Well, not so new leader, but new leader at the restart, Keegan Leahy. Green flag in the air. We're racing at Phoenix again.
Another good start from Keegan. He obviously is going to maintain that position. Bolton easily going to slot into second position. Shelton, on the other hand, he's going to have a fight on his hands from Colton Davis on the outside. Colton really put together a heck of a run last run. I think he can actually compete up here with these guys. I think he's clearly the top 4, top 5 car of this race, and he's actually going to put some pressure on Shelton and try to make this outside line work coming out of 3 and 4.
Yeah, coming out of 3 and 4 side by side they go now, single file. The first side by side, no problems in the back. And not sure who it was. There's your yellow. And, big times issues for the 34. It might have been Curl. I'm not sure who spun in the back. It was a white car of some kind. All I saw was a car sideways. It might have been Johnson. I'm not sure, but nonetheless, caution was out. That started on the front straightaway, but looks like it fell back further. We're going to wind back the cameras and see what on earth happened.
It looked like multiple accidents there. This is going to take a second lot to dissect for sure.
Okay, so there was the incident. The car I saw spinning was the 24 of Dallas Pataska. That wasn't the only incident, though. The incident that involved the 34 looks like it happened further down the road, so we're going to have to pull up the replay of that as well. And, yeah, 2 incidents happening there. Not sure what happened. It looks like Pataska got a little bit loose, and we'll see if we can see what happens to him. We'll look above at the 34 here to see what happened in this incident. Because, oh, he looked to try and go for a gap. I think he was trying to clear the 30 of Mahar and just not at all was able to, and he got spun around, and I don't think that's the first time those two have met today, if I remember correctly.
Well, he tried to make a move, and unfortunately Brad was there. Brad's going to take some damage on the right front from that, which looks like it could be detrimental to his straight line speed, but he did a heck of a job keeping it off the wall after that, and literally all over the track after contact was made. But he was, once again, there's nothing he could do. The 34 car tried to make a move, and unfortunately there just wasn't enough room there for that move to be made. So that looks like pretty much day over for the 34 car.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the 34 goes around. You see behind him the 24 spinning. So both those guys go for the spin cycle here at Phoenix. And caution out once again early. And a little bit else that was interesting in that incident was the 35 and the 11 having to do some defensive or race-saving driving. Connor Blaze had to lock up the brakes a little bit, as well as the 35 of Benjamin Nelson. Both of those guys didn't really sustain any damage in the incident, just locked up the brakes a little bit, so maybe look to see them come and get tires, which I believe the 11 is doing right now. I think the 35 is staying out, though, due to that damage. I think just trying to hold on to as many spots as he can, but we're about 10 laps or so from the halfway point, but you know what? We got a caution here, so I'm not going to risk it. Let's run you through your iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the world's online leading racing simulation with officially sanctioned racing from the likes of NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, the World of Outlaws, the Cars Tour, and coming soon, Red Bull Global Rallycross, coming to the sim here at the end of 2017. Keegan Leahy, your leader right now, with Justin Bolton running second. Third going to go to Colton Davis. Fourth to Nicholas Shelton. Fifth to Casey Kerwin. Sixth to Garrett Lowe. Seven's going to go to Kevin King. Eighth going to go to Chad Lawton. Ninth to the driver of Jesse Schwartz. And Jacob Barberts rounds out your top 10. 11th going to go to Jarl Tien. 12th going to go to Michael Guest. 13th to Stephen Wilson. 14th to Nick Morse. 15th going to go to the driver of Jake Nichols. 16th to Jeremy Davis. 17th to Nathan Lyon. 18th to Brad Mahar. 19th to Patrick Mellon. And Casey LaJoy rounds out your top 20 there, Nolan.
That's right. Tyler Laughlin's going to be in that 21st position. Thomas Axum, who was involved in that accident after in the 20 car, he's going to be in 21st. Benjamin Nelson, 22nd. We got Braden in 23rd. PJ Sturgis actually in 25th position. Still back in the back. Trey Edson in 26th. Ryan Kuhn, the number 4 car, was involved in an accident earlier in the race. He's in the 27th position. Ryan Doucette, 28th. James Curl, 29th. And James Mickelbacher, I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that name, in 30th.
Neil Bachler, I believe it is, for the 27. Then you got Connor Blaze, Blade Witt, Michael Johnson, Dallas Pataska. We're going to keep butchering this. So the 34 car of, we've been trying to avoid it, and I believe Michael Guarglia, we'll go with that. I'm going to have to go ask Chris at the end of this thing. And then Robbie Vrabel Jr., Adam Benefield, Dave Washington, round out your 38 car field. That's been a look at the iRacing Midway Race Break. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities on the web, you can visit iRacing.com to sign up today. Green flag in the air. Out once again, Keegan Leahy off to the races, and side by side behind him, Bolton and Davis going at it.
Yeah, Bolton and Davis going at it. Davis, once again, now he's up here. He's fighting for second position. He made that position on Shelton, and he made it look easy. Now he's on the inside of Bolton, and once again, he might have an opportunity to make it stick. I think Bolton's going to be able to make that outside work. Shelton, meanwhile, behind, working the top side on Casey, and Casey's making the bottom work. So who knows? Right now, it looks like the top side's falling off just a little bit. The bottom overall seems to be coming in a little bit. I think we've had some caution flag laps that have aided that. But yeah, the 29 car now on the inside of Bolton, still not able to make that position, and Bolton still not able to clear him as they work through 3 and 4.
Yeah, 3 and 4 this time, and Bolton going to try and edge ahead here off of turn number 4. He'll get ahead of the 29 of Colton Davis here, and then behind him also single file goes Kerwin in. Well, no, not quite, because Kerwin took a look to the inside that time. Not going to happen, though. They'll be single file through your top 5 or so. And then behind him, it looks like Garrett Lowe able to get ahead of Kevin King. And King now under attack from his teammate in Chad Lawton as those two go side by side.
Side by side off of 3 and 4. I think these guys are going to play nice being on the same team. And, as opposed to the daytime running, which we did here in Impasse, now we're at Phoenix at night. And it just seems like that top side, it's not very strong the first 2 or 3 laps of these restarts, or really 2 laps. But after that, yeah, the top side just seems to come alive. We saw everybody on the top side clear everybody on the bottom just about in the top 10. So, yeah, top side comes in pretty quick in the nighttime conditions. And once again, as I say that, Kevin King falls in behind his teammate of Chad J. Lawton.
Yeah, and King now going to try and follow the tire tracks of Chad Lawton. Once again, it looks like as Lawton has the number 1 of Garrett Lowe right in his view. And side by side, meanwhile, back through your field, it looks like around, let's say the 19 of, find that car on the list. That's the 19.
Jake Nichols.
Jake Nichols, thank you.
There's a name we can pronounce. I think we're on a first name basis, though.
Yeah, Jake down to the inside this time. He's been battling with Nick Morse here, and Jake, another driver, looking to break in here as big time contact with the 6 of Sturgis, and around he goes, going backwards now. Is the caution going to fly yet again? And more problems this time, though, in a different part of the track, off turn number 1, heading towards the dog leg. And looks like Sturgis is going to be kind of another driver here who wasn't involved in the initial contact. That was the 32 of Nathan Lyon going up into the wall.
Yeah, Nathan unfortunately seemed to be lagging just a little bit there. I don't know if that was the actual cause of the accident, because he basically got punted is what it looked like from the 30, but the 30 car has a little bit of a gap there, so no blame to be dealt there. And then the 6 car PJ Sturgis, yeah, just he was already committed to the corner and just apparently couldn't pull it back down and slammed into the 32 car, and that's going to be quite a bit of damage on PJ Sturgis's Ford Fusion tonight. So that's a bit unfortunate. That's 2 weeks in a row for PJ Sturgis where he's going to be involved in some pretty big accidents fairly early in the race.
Yeah, he's not going to be terribly happy about that, and that could be not good for his potential to make it into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. That's 2 weeks in a row where he's had to drop towards the end of the field here. So, and it looks like he's gotten out of the car even. So PJ, a long road to hoe here. If he hopes to get back into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing, but that's then, this is now, and pit stops are happening right now as everybody coming down pit road except for Justin Bolton and Casey Kerwin, who's staying out, as well as a couple other drivers. Everybody else behind taking 4 tires, and the strategy call, well, it's split now, Nolan. Completely different strategy. Chad Lawton up to P4, by the way. Amazing pit stop for the driver of the number 25, but not a good stop for Keegan, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I'm not sure why. I don't have a problem with the decision these guys up in the front made of staying out. There's enough cars that stayed out that the leaders are slightly protected. You've got those guys who, unfortunately, like Steven Wilson. Colton Davis is going to be in a good position here, but yeah, Steven Wilson obviously going to be at the back of the pack with these old tires, but we didn't put that many laps on these tires, so honestly, I don't hate this decision. I think the guys who, if anybody's upset, it is your Keegans. I mean, they didn't really want to see this many cars stay out. I don't think they expected this many cars to stay out. Keegan's going to take this restart in 9th position, which I'm sure when he pulled down onto pit road, he probably wasn't expecting that many cars to stay out.
Yeah, and Lawton took 4 tires, so Chad Lawton's sitting in a very good position right now, as is his teammate Kevin King. Both of those guys, they got Lowe, Kerwin, and Bolton in front of them, and we've seen the tires, they haven't lived up to, I think, what these guys have been wanting. But, oh, by the way, Nolan, the guy who took those 4 tires earlier on and we said wasn't moving through the field? That Teloff guy? Yeah, he's 14th now.
Yeah, we've had a few cars drop out. He looked like I said he was about a top 20 car earlier. He's in 14th. Did he pit that time and take 2? Did he take 4? I think he took 4. So yeah, he's in a really good position actually right now. The guys who are actually mired in the back that I expected to kind of grind their way to the top are guys like Jarl Tyen, who really I thought had great track position, took the move early to stay out. And really, since they've gotten back on the standard rotation, haven't stayed up front, whereas guys like Tyler Laughlin has actually clawed their way from the back. So pretty impressive from Tyler to get up into that 14th position.
Yeah, it is, and he'll be starting this race, like we said, from the 14th position up on the outside. Your top 5, well, it goes as follows: Bolton, Kerwin, Lowe, Lawton, King. And I'm going to be curious to see what Lawton and King can do on those fresh tires with these 3, because those 3 at least stayed out. So interesting calls nonetheless. We'll have to see how things work out. And something to note here that just came up on my timing sheet here, Nolan. I think Lawton and King rolled through pit road. I don't know if they stopped.
I think that is the case, because Wilson is in the position where he shouldn't be. And yeah, so I don't understand. But anyway.
Yep, green flag in the air, and we're back racing here from Phoenix. Once again, it gets very spread out there, and Garrett Lowe making all sorts of moves, and it was not a good restart for 2nd through 5th. And everybody all stacked up behind each other. Now Lowe, Kerwin, and King all go to the very inside and leave Chad Lawton and Steven Wilson up on the outside. And Wilson under attack from Kevin King right now, and a whole lot of cars behind him trying to get past here. And it's a race for about 8th right here, because meanwhile you got Keegan Leahy and Nick Morris trying to come through the field here.
I apologize for that mic cutting out earlier, but yeah, this is the most dangerous time of the race. I mean, this is where I start to get pretty excited, because Keegan is in obviously a prime position to make up some spots here. So is Shelton, and we've got guys with mismatched tires. The guys behind don't really know what the situation is with certain drivers. As we saw with Kevin King, they probably think Kevin King and those guys took 2. They're probably not aware that they rolled through. So, you know, they really don't know what the pace differential is when they catch these guys. So this right now is the most important section of the race, obviously, and it's also the most dangerous section of the race thus far.
Yeah, for sure. Davis looking to the inside. Kevin King as they head into turn number 3 yet again here. Davis looking. He will get past King here, and King going to lose that position. Hello, Nick Shelton. He's back and looking for some positions here. Shelton right behind King now as they head back into turn number 1 yet again. Looks to the inside. Nothing quite there. A little bit of a door shut there by Kevin King, but now Shelton jumps to the inside. He'll be there this time as they come through the dog leg and back into turn number 3. Look to the outside, but nope. King's got nothing for him. He's going to try and send it in on the outside coming out of turn number 4. But no, Shelton's going to slide up in front of him. And meanwhile, side by side in front of these guys, it's Lowe and the 29 of Colton Davis. And Lowe going to lose that position now.
Colton Davis lost some track position on that restart, and he's actually pulled it back up pretty well. Shelton just shows, though, as he got around King, just so easily, just makes it stick so easily on the bottom. And it seems to be a pretty consistent case. If you can pass on the bottom, you're really good. If you can pass on the top, you never really know. So these guys who are actually running the bottom and making it work, in my opinion, are the guys to watch. As I say that, Shelton's going to send it on, what was that, Garrett Lowe, on the inside of Garrett Lowe, and I think it's going to be an easy position once again. He's going to take the cut, and he should be able to clear this guy going into 3.
Did you say you were curious about how Shelton was going to do if he was on fresh tires, and he's now suddenly passing everybody in front of him?
I think he's the guy to beat. I really do. I think if he can get back up to the front, I think he's the guy to beat. I really do.
And he's been doing a heck of a job at it right now. Meanwhile, Casey Kerwin's got the Ford nose all over the back of Chad Lawton right now, and nowhere to go for Kerwin. Maybe looks to the inside this time as they head into 3, but Kerwin is there right in the mirror of Chad Lawton, and the driver in second right now just trying to shake Casey, and that is not on the docket for today. And Kerwin looking to go back-to-back, and in a very good position to do so. I do agree with you in the fact that I think Shelton has one of the best cars, but Kerwin's been kind of hanging around all day. He stayed in the kind of edge of the top 10 early on. Now he's starting to make his moves towards the front.
It's anybody's ball game. That time by, Shelton was the fastest of the top 5, but it's so close right now. It's just it's so hard to tell. I mean, these guys are so close. I mean, we're talking about 2 3/100ths of a second a lap difference here between the top 5. So very close. Chad J. Lawton kind of stretching that out to Casey a little bit, and Colton Davis once again just continues to impress me tonight with this outright pace. A 68 that time by to Casey's 73. So a very quick lap time from Colton, but once again Shelton a 60. So just to put it into perspective of how fast that number 2 car is, he ran a 60 last time. That's about 600ths faster than anybody else on the track. So pretty solid lap.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And another battle going, and it's Keegan Leahy trying to make his way back through the field here. It's He's right on the back bumper of guess who, Jacob Harberts, who's right on the back bumper of guess who, Garrett Lowe. These guys all together. Now Leahy looking to the outside. Never mind. Yellow flag going to fly once again. And it's possibly more issues. Looking back through the field, not sure where that one came from. We'll have to wind back the camera. I don't think it was Nathan Lyon, but possible issues. I'm going to try and look through your field, see who it was.
Yeah, it looks like that's going to involve the number 20 of Thomas Axon. We've talked a lot about him tonight, and Casey LaJoy. And we'll have to chat about that one a little bit. Looks like the 37 of Casey LaJoy had a nose on the 20 going into 3, and for whatever reason the 20 car was not having any other. We might want to go back and look around and see if those guys had any accident before that. But yeah, that didn't look too friendly.
The 20, the 20 came down on the 37, at least from what it looked like on there. We saw the 37 go side by side with the 20, kind of coming out of turn number 1, got very loose, and I'm not sure if the 20 thought he was clear or what on earth happened there, but looked like they kept it all kosher once the yellow flag flew. But yeah, that is definitely a thing that happened on the racetrack.
Yeah, that's some feathers being ruffled right there. I do agree. You know, the 37 obviously off of 2, like you mentioned, pushed up into the 20 car, probably upset the 20 a little bit, but you know, once again, not necessarily a need to get into an accident going into 3 over something like that. But anyway, it is what it is. Doesn't look like a lot of damage from either of the 2 cars, so you know, it is what it is. Hopefully they can calm down and have a clean race here to the end.
So meanwhile, pit stops were on the table that time, and Nick Shelton, yeah, he's first now. Came off of pit road first. Then you got Keegan Leahy, who makes up for that stop, because a lot of these guys through your top 6, all 2-tire stops. Also, who took 2 tires, Jake Nichols and Trey Edson, as well as Michael Guest, all taking 2 tires. So strategy calls, they are aplenty, and well, we like the call from Shelton to try and get out front, because we've been saying that car's been so fast. Interesting call there, though, for Jarl Tien, who basically makes the same call he made last time, Nolan, which kind of came back to bite him a little bit.
It did. I think with the amount of laps we've run, this is going to pay out a little bit better for him overall, because we've got a few guys like Nicholas Morris, for example, who's going to restart here in 4th position. Jesse Swartz is back up here, and this is all due to strategy. So I like a lot of the calls from a lot of the guys up here. I like Shelton Keegan's call especially. Yeah, Jarl is in a situation that he could be in trouble because everybody behind him looks like they're going to have optimal equipment, except for maybe a few stragglers from the back who leapfrog, such as maybe Jake Nichols. Trey Edson's probably in that situation. But aside from that, he's going to have a lot of guys behind him with 4 fresh tires who obviously have really quick race cars.
Yeah, absolutely, and Shelton leading the field here, and that's got to be a dangerous perspective for the rest of these guys, because that too has been fast all evening long, and looks like it's not going to go away anytime soon. Lights are out here. That lap car, that is Adam Benefield, who is trying to get his lap back here, and he will go around the pace car, so the 38 looks to file back behind everybody. Also racing off pit road, he's not going to make it, is the driver of the 24. And that's Dallas Pataska, and he's not going to make it before the pace car, and may have to fall the end of the line here. So your top 5 goes as follows: Shelton, Keegan Leahy, Jesse Schwartz. 4th is going to go to Nick Morse, and Jeremy B. Davis rounds out your top 5. You also got Jarl Tien, Justin Bolton, Chad Lawton, Trey Edson, and Jake Nichols. A lot of these guys on 2 tires. We'll have to see how the strategy calls. And we'll have to see how the strategy falls for those guys, and if it does seem to work out for them on the 4 tires here. But 59 laps to go at the line here for the driver of Nicholas Shelton, who will take this field back to the green flag. Pace car is in. He's on the loud pedal. Goodbye, Nick Shelton. Green flag in the air.
2x2 all the way back as far as the eye can see, with the exception of Shelton. We got a lot of guys up here. We got Nicholas Morris already getting hounded by Jarl Tien. That top group is really getting held up. We're going to see some 3-4 wide action into 3 here possibly. Jarl Tien on the outside, the 19 and the 3 of Casey Kerwin's really going to shoot to the bottom and try to pick up a lot of positions here going into 3 and coming out of 4. It looks like he's going to make up at least 2, maybe 3.
Yeah, it's getting real dicey back here. Kerwin contact. That's going to be Lawton into the wall. The 25 comes back into traffic. and it's going to be cars all sorts of over the place, and caution going to fly, and that all started around Chad Lawton and Casey Kerwin, who went 3 wide into turn number 1, and it doesn't work here, Nolan. It just doesn't.
Yeah, it's Jarl. Jarl blocked the bottom off. Obviously, they were going 3 wide in front of him. He blocked the bottom off, and then he ran the middle groove. I think because he figured the 3 and the 25 were committed, and the 3 and the 25 weren't committed. They were ready to go around the outside, and unfortunately, I don't really want to put blame on anybody for that accident. I think Casey and Chad, they were just all in the wrong. They were all in the wrong place at the wrong time. So it's a bit unfortunate for Chad. Real strong race car all night, and man, I just hate to see it go down like that.
Yeah, we'll take another couple looks at this, and yeah, for Lawton, just nowhere. I think he tried to go down at the same time. It was just not going to happen, and there was also an incident behind these guys. We see this contact, but also another car who ended up in the wall was, I believe, Steven Wilson, yeah, who kind of got sent sideways there for a little bit, the driver of the number 7. The turquoise car, I saw it out of the corner of my eye, and I think he got booted a little bit and went sideways. You see that Cessna machine up there as well, just kind of nowhere to go. And yeah, he actually got tagged, I believe, off the nose of T-Loft there. So we'll have to see. And T-Loft, massive damage to the Monster Energy Chevrolet as well.
Yeah, we just talked about how T-Loft had clawed his way back up to the front, and yeah, got into the 7 of Steven Wilson. And then maybe even a little bit of contact after the fact. Nothing too bad. Yeah, definitely tagged in the rear by that 30 car. Almost got into the 20. Barely saved it. What a ride for T-Loft right there in the number 8 machine.
Yeah, T-Loft not the way he wanted this race to go, and is down on pit road right now getting some of that damage repaired. So Tyler Laughlin, a long day here at Phoenix. Made his way, was looking pretty good there, but sadly everybody stacked up in front of him there, and what could have turned into an ice day turns into a very long day for the driver of the 8, looking to make his way back into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series. And we're back under yellow again, so that'll give us a moment. So we're going to take a moment, step aside here on LSRTV, and go grab some water. So you're watching round number 2 of the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series right here on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Don't go anywhere. We'll go side by side so you don't miss a moment of the action. Welcome back here to Phoenix here on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Quick, want to mention our friends over at Joel Real Timing. Nolan was mentioning that he could use maybe a little bit more help in the overlay department to be able to see the timing on here. Well, why don't you head over to Joel-Real-Timing, pick yourself up the Joel JRT overlays. You'll be able to see timing, you'll be able to see fuel mileage, all sorts of stuff. And that's, of course, at Joel-Real-Timing.com, official timing sponsor of LSRTV. But your top 5, well, they're on the top of your screen right now, but the leader right now, Nicholas Shelton, as they head back to the green flag yet again, and I hope I don't say right now any more times.
Yeah, Shelton decided to stack the field up that time, which I don't blame him. You know, he's going to want some cautions here probably. I think with the pace he's shown, I really think he can control the field. But meanwhile, back in the back, we got 3 wide, actually going in 3 carat low on the bottom of Casey Kerwin. Jeremy B. Davis is going to slot in behind those guys. Jarl Tynes going to pull up alongside of Jeremy B. Davis, and looks like everybody's going to try to slot in line here. Garrett Lowe is going to pull in behind Casey. Casey's going to make up some positions, and he's already back up to 5th position.
Yeah, Casey working his way up through this field already. 4 cars left in front of him here, and they're all stacked up behind Nick Shelton. And Leahy looks like he's going to have to worry about Bolton before he has to worry about Shelton, because the 9 car has been slowly closing in on the 18 and is looking for the positions. Another car goes around in the back. Yellow's going to fly. It's a car spinning, possibly belonging to Colton Davis. Yes, it is, the 29 around. And another promising day goes out the window.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's what happens when you get stuck back here. I mean, he's still almost in the top 10 when he's involved in this accident. 3 wide action off the corner. Looks like Nick Morris on the outside there. Not sure who the other car is involved in.
Nichols, 19.
Yeah, Jake Nichols, unfortunately. But yeah, Colton, 3 wide action off the corner. That's never going to end well. Usually you always try to filter down to 2 off the corner. In the corner is one thing, but off the corner it's a lot harder to keep everything in check. And unfortunately, there just wasn't enough room there for Davis. Nichols in the middle probably could have drifted a little higher. Colton on the bottom probably could have stayed down a little lower. Racing deal at the end of the day.
And the TCM machine of Patrick Mallett absolutely nowhere to go, right on board with the number 13 as they head through 4, and you see the contact and just you see the 5. He's able to get by, and just not enough time for the 13 to be able to react, and he'll go straight into that spinning car of Colton Davis. So a long day gets longer for the driver of the 13. He's going to have to make some repairs to that Drake on Tack and Tim's corner machine here, possibly, or no, he's going to stay out here and try and stay with the damage. It wasn't too bad, but those 2 cars, you're really the only ones who were involved there, apart from Nichols and the car and Morris as well.
I think you're right. I think Steven Wilson might have gotten a little bit of it after the fact, just because he actually just got into the outside retaining wall, unfortunately, by himself, trying to stay away from Colton. But yeah, I think outside of that, overall, not the worst accident in the world that could have happened, even for Colton's perspective, who's probably going to have some pretty substantial damage. It could have been much worse than it is. This is recoverable. I know it's late in the race, but obviously I won't know. I'm not looking at the numbers, but that could be an acceptable repair. It just all depends on how much is required from the team, and it looks like he's actually going to lose a couple laps, so I take back my previous statement. It does look to be a little bit worse than I originally assumed.
Yeah, so we'll run you through your top 20 right now, because things with these cautions, everything's kind of gotten shaken up here. So, we'll look at your top 10. Shelton, Leahy, Bolton, Schwartz, Kerwin, Lowe, Tian, Davis, Nichols, and Kevin King round out your top 10. Then you got Jacob Harberts, and then it'll switch the line here, and it should put Michael Guest into that 12th place position in front of no, it doesn't look like it. So there we go. Yeah, everything's starting to switch over now. Michael Guest going to be 12th. 13th going to go to Braden Boulos. 14th go to Thomas Axum. 15th to Casey LaJoy. 16th to Ryan Doucette, James Curl, Patrick Mallett, Ryan Kuhn, and Michael J. Johnson round out your top 20. And then 21st going to go to Tyler Laughlin. 22nd to Nicholas Morse. 23rd to Blade Witt. 24th to Stephen Wilson. 25th going to go to James Mielbachler. 26th going to go to Connor Blaze. 27th to Benjamin Nilsson. And then Colton Davis, 28th. Everybody else from there on back is at least 9 laps down or completely out of the cars. Brad Mahar, Trey Edson, Chad Lawton, Dallas Pataska still in the car. Adam Benefield still in the car, as well as Nathan Lyon, who's still in the car. PJ and Michael both out of the car. Robbie Vrabel, who's sitting in the car still trying to get repairs. And David Washington, who has left the racetrack for the evening. And to look at your full field once again here, because everything's gotten so shaken up with these cautions, Nolan. People who were in the top 10 earlier on, not there anymore.
Yeah, they're not there anymore, and strategy has been kind of thrown out the window at this point. I think everybody's going to be baseline now. We're 110 laps into a 158-lap race. Everybody's going to go to the end at this point. So, you've pretty much made your bed, and you're going to have to lie in it unless we get a middle-of-the-run caution here, which might jumble things up. But I think for the most part, this is it. I mean, this is the track position you've got to work with. So you got to make it happen right here, right now from this point forward.
Yeah, you do, and the field's going to be in control once again, and Nicholas Shelton. We'll have to see if he stacks up the field again here, or if he's going to try and pull away early. Maybe a strategy here, Shelton, maybe hoping that if he stacks up the field, everything gets a little bit more chaotic behind him. We'll have to see what the thinking the driver, the number 2 is, though. Pace car looks to the inside here, and yep, he's going to stack up the field here. There he goes, green flag in the air, and it does stack up with the 9 of Justin Bolton not getting as good of a run as Kerwin does, and they're side-by-side back into 1.
Side by side back into 1. Jesse Schwartz on the outside of Casey Kerwin. Casey Kerwin's making that bottom work. I think the bottom works good on these restarts, but you got to make those passes quick. You got to get them done fast. And Jesse Schwartz right now is not giving up that position without a fight.
Yeah, Schwartz is not going to give in. A little slight contact there as they come off of turn number 4, but Kerwin has that inside line, is going to make the pass, and will clear it barely. No, he won't. Yes, he will. There he will. Just in front of Jesse Schwartz. Schwartz not done, though, going to try and fight back as they head through the dog leg, right on the back bumper. Now Kerwin will complete that pass. We saw Lowe try and look to the outside. Nothing there, though. That's going to allow Tian to jump to the inside of Garrett Lowe.
Yeah, Jarl has been kind of in the back. We haven't really talked much about him. He was obviously quick last week. We know he's got the pace, but he's kind of been mired in the back. He hasn't had any track position. He's finally back up here with decent tires on him, and he's actually going to make that pass on Garrett Lowe. It looks fairly easy. He should be able to clear it. Oh, and Jesse actually clips his nose, so he may not actually be able to make that pass work after all. But yeah, Jarl finally back up here with some decent tires underneath him, and he's actually showing some really solid pacer for these closing laps.
Yeah, he is. Meanwhile, your leaders have all gotten back together. It's Leahy trailing Shelton and Bolton trailing Leahy here. All 3 of them together, only 4 tenths separating your top 4. And into turn 3 they go yet again in the 18. Leahy's been all over the track trying to find a way past Shelton. Had a smidge of a nose, not able to do anything there as they come out of turn number 4, but Leahy's there just looking for his opportunity.
Yes, he is. Bolton actually with the fastest lap of these 3 last time by a pretty substantial margin. Shelton has actually not ran the pace I've been accustomed to seeing him run. He's actually ran the last 2 times by. Actually, he's been a bit off, running this really high outside line, trying to block off any move. Keegan's going to get stuck up behind him here. It looks like Bolton's going to show a nose. Bolton's probably not going to be able to make anything happen here, but Shelton's probably in a situation right here where he's trying to make these 2 guys get into it and save his tires by running this outside groove early in the run, but it's really going to cost him some pace early on, and Keegan's going to show a nose into 3 because he's going to have a decent sized run through the cutback on the backstretch.
Yeah, Keegan's there. He's got a wheel in. No, he gets a little bit loose, and he's going to have to drop back again. And hello, Justin Bolton. That was the move he needed to happen. Down to the inside. The number 9 goes in as they go into turn number 1 yet again. But Keegan going to stay resilient on the top side. He'll be able to hold on to it. So Leahy not giving in easily there. But I do agree, Nolan. I feel like the way he's running the track is trying to pit the 18 against the 9 and trying to run that defensive line to check Leahy up, and in the hopes that second and third start battling each other. By the way, you see in the back of your picture Schwartz and Tian going at it here for that 5th place position. Tian looks like he's going to have a nose here as they head into turn number 1. And caution. Yeah. Not sure what the cause of that one was, but a yellow flag back out on the track. And looks like we're diving through the cameras again. Possibly, no.
Well, we actually had a little bit of contact between Garrett Lowe and Kevin King off of 2 as the caution came out. Garrett Lowe's going to take a pretty substantial amount of damage here. He saved the car. That didn't bring out the caution, however. Something else did. But
it's the 11, Connor Blaze. That's there. There's your incident. I saw smoke. Had to find it, so we're gonna throw up the animation again there as I try and reel back the camera. This was a little bit of a mess back here because there was a bunch of cars all stuck behind Michael J. Johnson, who still has that injured car there. You see the 31 also injured, and everybody just checked up, and the 11 got a tap that sent him around from Ryan Doucette in the 36. We'll get a second look at that, but Ryan Doucette just, I don't think he was expecting the 11 to get on the brakes there and just kind of ran him over there going into 1.
Yeah, ran him over a bit. It looks like the 36 stopped his car on the track. He's obviously felt bad about it. Really not too detrimental to either of these 2 cars. Not a lot of damage, and they're not really going to lose any track position. So as long as they can stay friends, so to speak, after this, it's no harm, no foul.
Yeah, and Bunce goes the 11 there, and yeah, kind of a classy move by Ryan Doucette there to kind of stop on the racetrack and give up some of the positions there and allow the 11 to keep his position there. So still, I don't think the 11's going to be terribly happy that he's going to have to dole out some more money to get some Goodyear Eagles, but cars down pit road, and it's a race off pit road. Survey says, thank you very much, Jacob Harperts. No, actually, further up, a bunch of cars are going to stay out here, Nolan, and looks like maybe Harbert's one of the first cars out of pit road. Actually might go to Jesse Schwartz as well.
I think you're correct, and one of the big hitters that we saw pit right there was Nicholas Shelton, and he is not going to be very happy with this track position he's got when we go back to take this restart, especially with some of these big hitters staying out up front. We had a majority of our what I call quote-unquote big hitters. We had Keegan, we had Justin Bolton, we had Casey Kerwin, we had Jarl Tyen, Kevin King stayed out. So there's going to be some pretty stout competition at the front of the field here with a obviously superior track position, obviously older tires, but Shelton's going to be at least back from what I can see in 10th, maybe even 11th position, and we don't have that many laps left, so maybe, in hindsight, maybe not the best call for that 2 car. I don't necessarily think it's a terrible call. We'll probably have another caution, but definitely going to make this a little bit harder for that number 2 car than he wanted it to be.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we kind of saw this happen to Teloff earlier on, and some of these guys who got mired back in traffic. I think of Keegan Leahy, who was back in traffic earlier on because he made that call to come down and take tires. He's back up front now through strategy, so kind of almost a role reversal in a way. Leahy's now up front while Shelton is in the back, so interesting strategies, but maybe getting the 1-to-go signal here from the tower. Yes, we are. So Keegan Leahy, Justin Bolton, Casey Kerwin, your top 3, Jarl Tyen, Kevin King, Casey LaJoie, first time we've mentioned him in the top 10 here. James Mielbachler also up here kind of all of a sudden. Jesse Schwartz, Jacob Harberts, and Jeremy B. Davis round out your top 10. And then you got Shelton and Braden Boulos there in 11th and 12th, also knocking on the door to try and get into the top 10. But we get set to take the restart here once again as we head through the dogleg. Nolan, about 34 laps to go at the line here. Shelton's got a long way if he hopes to make up that gap that he lost on pit road.
He does. I hate to be in the lead in his situation right there because you just don't know what everybody else is going to do. And I don't hate his call, but yeah, it's just not going to end up working out for him in the long run. But Keegan Leahy in the meantime is going to take this green flag. Let's see if he decides to stack up the field. I'm assuming he will. Yes, he does a little bit, but he takes that green flag. Casey Kerwin with a great restart is going to have a fantastic run on Bolton down into 1 and 2.
Yeah, re-green here from Phoenix, and it's all Keegan Leahy here as they head into turn number 1. Kerwin down to the inside of Bolton, going to try and complete that pass. Down to the dogleg goes Kerwin, going to try and get the job done. No, not going to happen. Out on the outside, Bolton's going to have some speed on the top side. Meanwhile, 14 up into the wall and problems behind as more cars going spinning there, and looks like we're gonna know it's gonna go yellow there, and that was right at the end there. The 26 of Jeremy B. Davis having to hit pit road there after spinning, but it all started with the 14 of Schwartz going up in the wall there, and maybe contact from the 27 of Mielbachler.
I think there was definitely contact there. I don't, once again, when you go into a corner 3 wide, you get a 3 wide call from the spotter. You have to estimate how much time or gap you want to give to the car on the bottom. And once again, those guys, both of them, a little bit out of position, in my opinion, for a 3 wide call there. But hey, it could have been done. It could have been done cleanly. Luckily for Shelton, he was on the inside of that. We talked about him having this unoptimal track position now, and that just goes to prove right there. That's the reason why you want to stay up front in those situations. And, hey, he got lucky. He was close to the incident, but he got lucky, he got away with it, and now he's up in 8th position.
We'll take one more look at it there, and the 14 was able to kind of get the car locked down after the contact, and as a result, got very loose, got up into the wall. You saw Jeremy B. Davis head towards pit road, but the 14 really didn't make any contact with any other car, so he's up on the top side. Meanwhile, you saw Blaze and the 31 of the 31 car going to Blade Witt who kind of got tangled up on the inside trying to avoid that incident. So a couple cars involved, some of these guys who have been involved kind of in incidents all day, just trying to salvage what cars they have left. But Jesse Schwartz, that was the nail in the coffin for him. That's going to send him way to the back here.
Unfortunately for the 26 car, Jeremy B. Davis, he was obviously in that accident, spun to the inside of the track, and was forced to take the pit road. So that's the reason why he came down to pit road. So, you know, when worse comes to worse, I guess, so to speak, a bit unfortunate for Jeremy B. Davis for sure. That car is pretty torn up after that. That's a lot of right front damage.
Yeah, it is, and less than 30 laps to go when we take the green. We're going to step aside again in here and go LSRTV nonstop so you don't miss a moment of the action. Back in a few moments' time here at Phoenix. This is LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
Hi, I'm Ryan Priest. I'm driving the number 20 JGR Toyota Xfinity car this weekend. Really great opportunity here at New Hampshire at my home track. Over the past 2 weeks, I've been on iRacing, practicing a little bit here and there with the modified and the Nascar Xfinity car, so it's been a lot of fun. It's been a great tool for me to kind of get used to that stock car body again and be prepared for the race today. Well, yeah, it's a mile long, so the draft kind of plays into effect here with the modifieds, punches a big hole in the air, and we run restrictor plates. So it makes a big difference. Just really fast, and it's our Daytona. So that's what's great about it, and we have a fast car for tomorrow. I think the biggest thing is they're heavier cars. The tire's a lot different, and the way you go about setting them up's a lot different. They use all 4 tires more than a modified, where we typically drive off the right rear, you know, so. Well, actually, it's funny. I raced NASCAR race in 2003 before iRacing came about. And then when iRacing came about, my friend Kevin Iannarelli, who works at iRacing, kind of told me, hey man, you need to switch over to this. And when I did, I was like, oh my God, this is like real life. So I started using it as a tool of mine to...
29 laps to go at the line here from Phoenix International Raceways. We look to conclude round number 2 of the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series right here on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. Cisco Scarmoza alongside Nolan Scott to bring you all the action. Keegan Leahy leads the field here as the iRacing.com Ford Mustang pace car looks to head to pit road here, and the field in the hands of Leahy. He stacks up the field, but once again, re-green here from Phoenix.
And not the best start from Keegan on that one. Bolton with a much better start than last time. Easily going to clear Casey down into 1. And actually going to have an opportunity to maybe make something happen with Keegan if he wants to. But obviously I think he's going to slot in behind here into 3. Keegan's going to block that inside just to make sure. But they're going to be... oh, wow. Actually, you know, Bolton really trying to make this outside work. He's going to make it side by side on the front stretch with Keegan. He's going to make this work somehow.
Yeah, Bolton finding some grip up there on the top side, and he's not done yet. Side by side as they come out of turn number 1 through the dog leg. And yeah, Bolton's there, and he's staying tough on that high side. So Bolton not giving in so easily here as they head back into turn number 3. And I wonder if Keegan's starting to get a little kind of just kind of jammed up on the bottom and not finding the run, because Bolton leads that lap as they head into turn number 1.
I didn't think Bolton had it in him, but not only does he have it in him, he's got the optimal line, in my opinion, now that we've got this many laps into this run, which isn't many, but he's got just enough laps in there that I think he's actually going to pull this position up. I think he's going to end up getting the lead. It's just a matter of how hard Keegan wants to fight for it. Keegan is in a situation after Texas. He's pretty much going to have to take his drop. So he's going to slot in behind Justin Bolton here, which I think is the right move. You know, he's got to get points. He's got to play it safe. It's better off just to slot in behind and maybe try to make a run a little bit later in the race. This has also given Casey a good opportunity to make up some time on Keegan as well.
Yeah, Kerwin on search to try and jump into this this battle for the top 2. Meanwhile, teeing way up the racetrack, he goes, making room for Nick Shelton, who's found his way back to the front of your field. So if you're worried about where the 2 went, well, he's back. And right behind him, Jarl Tien as well as they head back to turn number 1. And it looks like it's going to be 4 cars, 6 cars altogether if you tag on Harberts as well, 7 if you throw in King as well. So these guys all kind of dicing up for this battle pack here for your top 7 or so. And you got Casey LaJoy under attack from Nick Morse, and that's kind of where that big gap is. But Casey Kerwin right now having to deal with Nick Shelton. That's your closest battle right now in your top 7.
It's your closest battle, and I talked a lot about Shelton. I've been talking pretty highly of him. I think that race car is probably one of the best race cars out on the track right now. And let's not forget, he's got the best tires of these top 5 by a pretty substantial margin. If he gets one more quick caution, I think he's a for sure in terms of strategy to the end. Even if this goes green, I mean, look at it. Already making the move on Casey, and really, not only did he make the move, it looks like he's going to make it pretty easily going into 3 here. He's going to be able to get a slide job done here if he wants to. So, if I'm these guys up in front, if I'm Bolton and if I'm Keegan, right now I'm thinking one of two things. I'm thinking let's drive hard, let's hold that guy back, or let's stay together, just stay in a line here and try to be as fast as we can and maybe try to get a race win out of this. But I think they're fighting a losing battle at this point. I think they're going to have to get aggressive with Shelton if they want to get this race win.
Yeah, Shelton looks to not be able. He doesn't look like he's going to have to worry too much. Down to the inside of Keegan Leahy now as they head into turn number 3. Leahy, nothing he can do. He's going to go way to the outside, and that's all Shelton needs there. Pass complete on the 18 of Keegan Leahy, and yeah, Justin Bolton, don't look in your mirror because here comes Nicholas Shelton, who has been charging through this field. The fastest car in the day. We've seen him head up through the field so many times already, and once again the two doing the same as closing in on Justin Bolton as they head back to 3.
Yeah, Shelton over a 1/10.5 a lap faster than Bolton last time by. Bolton had a good lap this time, though, it looks like, but still, that just goes to show that those tires are really going to pay off here towards the end. Didn't gain as much that time by, 0.5 tenth. But that's still a lot in the oval world, and he looks like he's going to try to make or at least show a nose into 3 and put Bolton under a little bit of pressure. Oh, he's going to send it, actually, and going to maybe slide up. No, nice and clean. Bolton's going to have a good run down the front stretch. He should be able to maintain this position, but Shelton has got the nose in there, and I just think he's fighting a losing battle on the outside with those fresh tires.
Yeah, Bolton on the top side, though, not going to give in quite yet. He's made that side work very well so far for himself, and as they come out of turn number 1 through the dog leg, and yep, Bolton going to be able to hang on just barely, but no, Shelton going to send it into turn 3 again here. With these two going side by side, Leahy not too far off this battle here, but side by side, Bolton will not give in as he gets very close to the wall there.
He does, and he actually came into Shelton just slightly. Shelton's crumpled up that right front quarter panel just ever so slightly. Doesn't look major by any means, but you never know. When you damage that right front quarter panel, you can really lose a little bit of straight line speed. As I say that, though, Shelton looks like he's going to get real aggressive now, get this position done. Kind of sitting in there. We've got lap traffic up ahead. Like I said, I think he's fighting a losing battle, but the fact that Bolton, number 1, passed Keegan and now is able to hold off Shelton, I think I underestimated Bolton's overall pace tonight. I mean, he really is one of the top 3 cars. We've said that before, but maybe he's one of the best cars. I don't know. If he had 4 fresh tires under him, this would be a lot harder for Shelton. I don't know if Shelton would be able to get it done.
Yeah, Shelton he's trying, but Bolton has just been dynamite on that top side, and this time Shelton going to lead, though. That could be the straw to be able to take over this lead. He's going to try and clear Bolton coming out of turn number 1. Bolton will not give up, though. He's still there, so this is not over yet. Side by side, and Shelton has had the best car all day. Now does he go for the slide job? He does, but that's not quite over yet. Bolton's still there, and no, Shelton completes it. New leader Nick Shelton. Does Bolton have anything in a 1?
That textbook diamond off the corner there. Bolton has been using every inch of the track and then some. I mean, let's remember, these guys have been side by side for basically the last 5 to 7 laps. I've lost count. And they've actually gapped Keegan by, about 2 tenths. Well, about a 1/10.5. So, these guys up front, man, really, really, really showing their pace now. They've kind of let it all hang out as we get down these closing laps. But we've got some lap traffic up ahead, so anything's possible at this point.
Yeah, Bolton trying to get some help with this lap traffic. It's not going in his favor, though. Shelton's been able to dispatch these lap cars fairly easily and without too much worry. We're coming up now on Adam Benefield in that torn-up car as well. You saw the 14 of Jesse Schwartz. You saw them go around him, as well as the 24 of Dallas Pataska. Now Benefield driving in the inside and letting everybody go by, but Shelton starting to open up that gap again, and the checkout line's open, and Shelton's heading for the door right now to close this thing up.
That's right. I think for the time being, Shelton's going to and stretch his legs a little bit here and gap Bolton. Bolton's obviously put a little bit more of a gap since I mentioned it last on Keegan. So really, in terms of the top 5, Jarl and Casey Kerwin, Jarl Tyan and Casey Kerwin are our 2 closest. And Jarl, got around Casey, and he's showing that even with those that offset strategy that he's on, that he can make it work. So I like the call now when we look back on it in hindsight of taking that penalty early on, getting the track position, and just trying to stay in the top 15, and it's actually paid off pretty big.
Yeah, for sure. And Harbert lost out to Kevin King, who slid by and secured that 6th position there. So the team driver making his way up through this field here, and got to be Kevin King's been looking for some races to go his way, and that's exactly what's happening for him. And so far looking good. Meanwhile, we checked in on Kerwin, and Tien and Kerwin went at it for a little bit. Tien on top right now. He sits in the 4th position. Kerwin back to 5th. But Casey, after the win last week, I think if he continues to have top 5 performances here, Nolan, I don't think Kerwin's going to have anything to worry about.
Oh, no, I don't either. I think Kerwin's doing exactly what he needs to do. I love this style of racing. I know it's not real popular in today's modern NASCAR time, but points racing is, to me, the essence of true motorsport. And you get to see it here in this series. You get to see it in impasse for the most part until you get obviously to the chase, which thankfully we have a little bit shorter chase than they have in real life. But I love the format that Pro Series has taken, honestly. Take into account point series driving raceability and reward those guys for it, because it's important. Keeping a clean car, to me, is just as important as being fast.
Yeah, and Kerwin's been able to do a heck of a job of that over the last 2 races, but coming to complete lap 48, or start lap 48 here. Now complete lap 48. I'm trying to remember how we ticker this thing, but lap 48 completed now. Just under 8 laps to go for the driver of Nicholas Shelton, who at this point just looks untouchable. I mean, he's pulling away from Leahy. He's pulling away from Bolton, I should say. Leahy he's pulling away from as well. Not really a whole lot of lap traffic in sight for the driver of the number 2, and barring a meteor hitting the track, it's going to be hard pressed for Shelton to lose that lead anytime soon.
Well, I picked him to win fairly early after seeing his pace, and when he made the tire strategy call, I didn't know if it was going to play out in his favor, but thankfully we've gotten a long run here at the end, and it's really paid off for him. And let us also remember, we have 25 cars left on the lead lap. We've had a lot of cars taken out of this race. I mean, we've got some guys running in that 10th to like 15th position who really weren't around earlier on. So, you've got Steven Wilson, who's clawed his way back into 14th. You've got T-Loft in 11th. Michael Guest has come back into 12th. So, everything's changed a lot, and I think that the tire strategy call from Shelton, in hindsight, now he looks like a winner. Looks like a genius call.
Yeah, and we'll leave the leaders here for a little bit because T-Loft's going hunting for the 37 at Casey LaJoie as they head through turns 3 and 4 right now. Those two will go side by side as they come off the corner, and that's for your final spot in the top 10. Meanwhile, Kevin King was all over the back bumper. Casey Kerwin, nothing there quite yet, so we'll stay with T-Loft. And this battle going on right now, and side by side they go through the dogleg. T-Loft down to the bottom side this time as they head into turn number 3.
Yeah, T-Loft going to send it big time with the slide job up top, but it looks like Casey LaJoie was going to give it to him anyway, or go for the crossover to begin with. But he's going to have to give up the position, but he's going to be able to get a nose in on him on one and going into one. And once again, not a big slide job from Casey. He's just going to hold the bottom, but I think he's going to have to start working his way to the outside. The outside just appears to be too strong. And T-Loft, overall, pretty strong pace. Everything. Oh, and I say that big times. Yeah, that's what we call a slide job before you get the clear there. So the 8 car way up the track, he's going to lose maybe 1-2 positions from this.
I don't think T-Loft's going to be terribly happy about that, Tyler Laughlin. And Casey LaJoie will hold on to that 10th place position. But meanwhile, while that battle's been going on, this battle with King and Kerwin has started to heat up once again as King jumps to the inside of Casey Kerwin. Kerwin under attack and trying to make that outside line work like Bolton did. Was able to do it that time and not quite able to clear King as they head back into one for these guys.
Now he's not able to clear him, and this is going to come down to the wire. We're getting so close to the end here. I think these guys are going to finish this race side by side. Whoever gets the position, it's going to be a coin flip from here.
Yep, these two will go side by side into turn numbers 3 and 4, and King looks to have it secure. No, Kerwin will fight back on the outside, and we'll take a look at those guys when they come back to the line. But tonight has all been Nicholas Shelton, the fastest car in this field by far. Came through the field at least twice just to get back up to the front. The pace has just been too much to overcome from everybody else, and as he rounds turn number 4, Nicholas Shelton going to get his win here in the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series race here at Phoenix. Justin Bolton going to bring it home second, Keegan Leahy third. Kerwin's going to squeak out in front of Kevin King, but Keegan Leahy to third, Jarl T into fourth, and Casey Kerwin holds on to that 5th place position as a little bit of wreck behind in the 35 as well.
That's right. We talked about Jacob Harberts last week the same way I'm going to talk about him right now. Where was he? Where was he? Oh, that's right. He came when he needed to come. He's going to end up with a 7th place position. James Curl 8th. I mean, Nicholas Morrison 9th. These guys had a hard-fought race in the back and really just scrapped at the end and got some really good points. Here at Phoenix. And Phoenix is a tough place to get points. It's a tough place to points race. So good job on them. Casey LaJoie is going to round out your top 10.
Yeah, I will, and we'll take a look at your full race results here in a moment as we head to a commercial here to see if we can talk to some of the drivers here and see if I can get my roommates to shush a little bit here. But you're watching the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series right here from Phoenix International Raceway. We're going to step aside and be back in a moment with your full race results here on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. The victory for Nicholas Shelton helps him out in the chase to to make his way into the NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series powered by iRacing as he gets the victory here at Phoenix in round number 2 of the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series. Cisco Scarmuzza and Nolan Scott here along with you as we run you through your full race results from the racing here at Phoenix. Nicholas Shelton gets the win here. Justin Bolton going to finish second. Keegan Leahy going to go to third. Fourth place finisher going to go to Jarl Tien. Fifth place going to go to Casey Kerwin. Sixth to Kevin King. Seventh going to go to Jacob Harberts. Eighth going to go to James Curl. Ninth place going to go is Nicholas Morse. And rounding out your top 10 is Casey LaJoy. Finishing 11th going to go to Michael Guest. 12th going to go to Tyler Laughlin. 13th going to go to James Mielbachler. 14th going to go to Jake Nichols. Stephen Wilson going to finish 14th. Going to finish 15th rather. Garrett Lowe going to finish 16th. 17th going to go to Ryan Doucette. 18th to Braden Boulos. And 19th going to go to Blade Withwood. Patrick Mallett rounding out your top 20, Nolan.
Yeah, Ryan Kuhn is going to end up in 21st position after being in that early incident. Jeremy B. Davis, 22nd. Connor Blaze, 23rd. Benjamin Nelson, 24th. All things considered, not bad. Thomas Axum, a lot of accidents tonight. Actually rallied back, stayed on the lead lap, going to get 25th. Jesse Swartz in 26th position. Michael J. Johnson, after everything we saw with him and the repairs he had to take, he's going to come back and finish 7 laps down in the 27th position. Dallas Pataska in 28th. Adam Benefield in 29th with a blown motor. Nathan Lyon in 30th. Robbie Rabel Jr. in 31st. 32nd is going to go to Colton Davis. 33rd to Chad J. Lawton. Tyler Edson in 34th. Brad Mahar in 35th. PJ Sturgis in 36th. And Michael
We gotta find this out before next.
Yeah, we gotta get Michael. If you're listening, come in here. Anyway, Michael, 37th. David Washington's going to finish in your 38th position at 126 laps down.
And that's your look at your full race rundown. Well, we're going to head to victory lane as well as talk to the rest of your top 5 who's joined us here. And first guy is the guy who wins the race. How about that? Nicholas Shelton had pace all night long, and he finds himself in victory lane. And Nicholas, we were... I think Nolan said it best. He had understated just how fast that car was, and you were lighting up the tires all day. Talk us through it, man.
The race was interesting because I had a really horrible qualifying run. So as we went along, we had to find some strategy to the race to get up front, which was the lap 12 caution. So I stayed out, and I knew that a couple guys should have got around me, and I fell back to third, which was fine by me. So I just waited until we had another caution, put 4 on, and then at that point we were just racing the rest of the way and trying different strategies, trying to see what would happen, you know, because usually the race turns into a wreck fest at the end. But it was okay, and it worked out in the end. I got 4 tires, and they stayed out, and I came back through the field and won the thing.
Yeah, for sure, and you had a lot of help tonight from the team of, you know, you got Bobby in your corner as well as Stephanie, and just... you know, your guys' efforts to get yourself into the Pro Series, we've seen it pay off already. We saw it pay off at Texas. We saw it pay off here as well, and you've just been so fast here.
Yeah, it's not usually one of my best tracks, but that set was so good that it kind of didn't matter. It was great that Zelensky made a great set, and it was just flying all night long.
Well, I'll tell you what, you bring it home P1 here tonight at Phoenix. I'll give you a chance. Sponsors, shout out to Gets It Done for you and the team.
I'd like to thank everybody that helped this week. I thank Zelensky for the set, Ray for spotting, and everybody else for digging and helping out for this week.
Well, that's Nicholas Shelton. He gets it done here. P1 in victory lane. Nicholas, congratulations, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.
That's the driver who brought home the trophy here from Phoenix International Raceway. I'm going to pass the mic down to the driver who finished third and the guy who was up front for a lot of the night here tonight. Led 61 laps. It's Keegan Leahy, and he's with Nolan Scott.
Keegan, it's a pleasure to have you up here in the booth with us tonight, man. 3rd place finish, real strong yet again. You showed some dominance in Texas. Things didn't go the way you wanted. You got the finish you needed tonight. We talked earlier this week, you know, about your driving style and everything, and just walk us through the race and your mindset tonight. You seem to be real conservative in many times, but yet you still seem to show that dominant pace that you had in Texas.
Yeah, Nolan, first of all, it's really great to finally actually get an interview in one of these pro races. I went through all last year having such bad luck and even my mistakes just preventing me from ever getting a decent run. So I just wanted to close it out here. I wasn't too worried about the win. I obviously wanted it, but I wasn't going to run Justin on the wall or hold up someone on completely fresh tires like Nick Shelton at the end there. So yeah, basically I was using the pace I had. I was definitely pretty quick. I think I'm driving pretty well and my setup was definitely near perfect. But yeah, it just wasn't worth it to push too much, especially in this pro format.
Yeah, I agree completely. And it seems, for the most part, don't get me wrong, there's some other big hitters out there. Casey Kerwin showed great pace. But it seems to be, for the most part, that yourself, Justin Bolton, and Nicholas Shelton have really put together a heck of a package for the Pro Series. I mean, in terms of the competition level, is there anybody directly you're concerned with? Because, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, it's pretty clear that you three have a really solid chance at fighting for a championship here. Is there anybody in the background I might not be thinking about that I should be? And how do you stack yourself up against Shelton and Bolton on a whole? Because right now it seems like you three are, for the most part, pretty consistently cream of the crop right now.
Well, might sound kind of egotistical, but I don't like comparing myself to anyone else. I don't like to ever say that someone's better than me. I like to just figure out how to gain pace on people. I'm never going to directly say that someone's better than me, but definitely other members on the team, they definitely have pace. If you see them put a good race together, they'll be up there. And there's a couple people in second split that if they ever get the I rating, they'll be up here too. Yeah, I'm definitely happy with my pace though overall.
Yeah, it is a good point about second split. We don't talk about it as much as we should probably, but it's definitely an easy way to qualify in, or not an easy way, but a viable way to qualify in. But once again, solid race, great job at the end, keeping the car clean. You did a fantastic job on that. Is anybody you want to thank? Any sponsors? Anybody that's out there supporting you?
Yeah, I'm working with got Ryan Luza, Derek Bordeaux, and Chris Shearburn. They've been giving me some help this week, and hopefully I'll be working with them all through and past next year if I make it in. And thank you for the broadcast and interview.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, thanks, Keegan. We appreciate having you up in the booth.
Well, thanks, man.
And that's Keegan, who finishes third, and we're going to slide down the pit boxes a little bit further and talk to the guy who finished fourth, and that's Jarl Tien, in the driver in the number 17, and just pulling him up now. And Jarl, a really good evening for you. You finished fourth here, and you were kind of in the top 5, not in the top 5, not in the top 10, came back in the top 10. It was a long and I'm sure wearing night for you in the 17. Talk us through it, man.
Oh yeah, this is a relatively long race for me, starting at 3 a.m. It's currently almost 5 a.m. right now, so getting pretty tired. But starting off with not doing a proper Q lap, my time should have been enough for pole, but I screwed up and spun out of 4. So I started way back in 36th, and my goal for the race was just to keep my nose clean. So I just let people come as they slow down to me, and I just carefully past each car. Then a caution came out on lap 15, and I knew I had the long run car even with 15 lap old tires, so I decided to stay out. I stayed out on 15 lap old tires, and even with 15 lap old tires I was still top 10 car, so I managed to keep hold of a lot of places there. Then finally a caution comes out, and yeah, I was fighting for a top 10 rest of the race.
And you found your way back up to fourth, and we saw you kind of take some different tire strategies here. And was that kind of the plan from the beginning, to kind of get off sequence, or what was kind of the rationale behind the strategy here tonight coming into the race?
Most of my calls was due to maintaining track position. I think that's what fueled my thought behind that. The only call I made wrong, I think, was the last call, taken 2. I think I should have taken 4, because I think I would have been right behind Shelton, I think, and potentially came either second or third. But the danger of danger of taking 4 tires is you'll be further down the pack, and passing here is relatively hard because the outside came in, and yeah, you never know. I might have been wrecked, so I'm relatively happy with 4th.
Well, you don't get it done by yourself. Jarl sponsors shout-outs. Who gets it done for you and the team?
For now, it's Randall Folks Racing. They basically made the base here, and I only made a few adjustments, and yeah, this thing was a rocket this week.
That's Jarl Tien, finishes 4th. Jarl, congrats, and we'll see you next week, sir.
Thank you, man. See you.
Well, that's Jarl Tien, and I'm going to pass the mic back to Nolan Scott, who's caught up with the finisher who finishes 5th. Our winner 1 week ago at Texas, it's Mr. Casey Kerwin, and he's with Nolan Scott.
Casey, glad to have you up here in the booth with us, man. Another solid run. I mean, top 5 is absolutely awesome. I mean, obviously not quite as great as the win last week, but, you know, once again, just walk us through the race. I mean, you seem to have what I would consider more of the baseline strategy to a majority of the guys around you. You seem to kind of do the standard play, and it paid out for you at the end of the race. Just walk us through the strategy, walk us through your race. How did it go tonight?
Yeah, I know we track position was going to be huge, and I messed up pretty big in qualifying. Didn't get to start where we wanted to, and just slowly started making our way forward. And you know, we got shuffled back a few times with people staying out and whatnot. And it was really just insane on restarts because, you know, one restart we'd be in like 6th or 5th, and then the next restart would be in like 14th again. So it was just insane on restarts. And there at the end, we just had a good track position and we wanted to keep it, so we just kept on staying out for the most part, and was able to hold on for a top 5. Had a great battle with Kevin King there at the end. It was fun crossing each other over for the last few laps, and threw a slide job on him into 3 coming to the checkered, so that was pretty fun, and all in all, it was just a great race.
Yeah, I beat points racing into the ground quite a bit up here in the booth. But, you know, now that you've had you've gotten a win at Texas, you got the win out of the way, you've got a top 5 here. When do you say, or when do you change your style, or do you change your style at all moving into the final races of the season in terms of your aggression level? I mean, obviously you didn't seem to be too aggressive tonight. But when is the time going to come, you think, when you can kind of back it down a notch? Because you're in a pretty solid points position moving into the 3rd round. I think you could even possibly be the points leader. Shelton might have you by a tick. But I mean, what is your strategy for the rest of the season in terms of your aggression level?
I don't know. It kind of depends. Probably just kind of what mood I'm in and where I'm sitting. If I really have a good shot at it, I'll probably be really aggressive. If not, then I'll probably think to myself, dial it back, don't overdo it. Don't try and get more than what you can and cause a problem. So just got to play it smart. We're sitting really good, and we have a really good points gap. But I'd like to keep that and not screw anything up. So it gives us an opportunity to be aggressive if we need to be. But I don't plan on being overly aggressive if I don't have to be. So that's the plan moving forward.
Yeah, I like what you're doing thus far. So anybody you'd like to thank, any sponsors tonight?
Yeah, just got to thank everyone at Dead Zone Racing, Houston Hamer, for putting in all the work, getting this thing dialed in. Alan Bowes, Blake Reynolds, Ryan Lowe, the Peak guys, helping me out all week. Michael Griglia, for him helping also. Sucks he didn't get the run that he deserved tonight. Also just got to thank Drakentech.com, John Dragonetti for the awesome paint scheme once again.
Well, awesome, man. It's a pleasure having you up in the booth, man, and I wish you the best of luck moving into round 3. Hope you can keep it up.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
And that's Casey Kerwin. That kind of rounds out your top 5 here, and that means we're going to begin to pack up the bus here, Nolan. But final thoughts here from Phoenix. Final thoughts on the race. Final thoughts on what is turning out to be a very interesting Pro Series. A lot of these guys showing a lot of speed early on.
Yeah, a lot of pace out here. You know, like I said, I made that statement probably a bit naively about certain guys being kind of cream of the crop, so to speak. But Shelton tonight really put on a show. Keegan has shown some solid pace, and Bolton's always up front just about every lap of every race we've covered this season. So in terms of closing thoughts, you know, in regards to last season, I think we saw about a similar amount of aggression at Phoenix. I think we probably had a few less cautions this race than we had last season. We had some decent green flag runs overall. So I really like what we're seeing here. I like the format that they've kind of that they've chosen. I think it's working well for the most part. And the guys this season that were around last season have really kind of cooled their jets, so to speak, and they're racing a lot smarter. And that's something I really like to see. I love the points. The points racing mindset, and you get to see a lot of guys kind of prove what they can do in terms of their long-term thinking as opposed to their short-term pace. And it's been an interesting season thus far, and I like the direction it's going for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not done here on LSRTV. Still a lot of racing left to go for us during the week. Wednesday, we got the Myrtle Beach Simulation Series. Thursday, the Upstate White Knuckle Clothing Incorporated Pro Late Model Series. Friday, the Super Speedway Cup Series. And Saturday, the United Sim Racing B&C London Landscaping Truck Series. For more on all of that, you can head to our website at www.livesimracing.com. And iRacing's the sim, not the website you want to check for that sort of scheduling. But until then, for myself, Cisco Scaramuza, for everybody here who helped out this evening, for Evan Pisoko, and we're hoping we can get his internet back here before Wednesday, or else we're going to start having to run around trying to get another Canadian to fill in. For Evan Pisoko, for everybody at LSRTV behind the scenes, for DJ Lyon, for Laura Lawson, and for Nolan Scott, who was able to help out tonight. This has been round number 2 of the NASCAR iRacing Pro Series, and we'll look forward to round number 3 next time right here on LSR TV, your home for sim racing. Good night.